Hey everyone, Brian from All Day Ruckoff here, and today we're unboxing the GORUCK Bullet 15 in Stormtrooper, which is an awesome colorway. I can't wait to see it. And we're just going to be talking about some GORUCK 2020 event updates that Jason just posted publicly in the GORUCK subreddit. So, getting this thing open first. We've got the insert, which comes in pretty much every single package we've ever gotten. And then we've got a sticker. GORUCK. Nice to get those again. And then we got the pack. And I remember when they came out with this color, I was kind of surprised because it's a white pack. I mean, this thing's gonna get dirty and I have no idea how you're gonna clean it. And I kind of think at this point that that's the point of the pack. So it'll be kind of fun to use this a bit, see what happens to it, and see how everything on it turns out. So as you can see, this is a super white bullet ruck, and then it's got the gray webbing on it with that spearhead sewn in right here. The Bullet 15 is a solid pack, and so it's nice to have one of these in this kind of crazy color. Hopefully I'll be able to use it at a couple upcoming GORUCK events, probably lights since this is only a 15-liter pack, but we'll see. Speaking of upcoming GORUCK events, Jason just posted this huge 2020 event update on Reddit, which is a public area, so there'll be a link in the description to his post. But there were some major updates on there for 2020. Some of them I know are getting people to rethink their whole 2019 schedule. Just a reminder, if you're watching this during the GORUCK Christmas in July sale, you can get 50% off all non-Firearms Day events with the code GETSOME2019. It's an awesome deal, and like I said, people are definitely rethinking their schedule after his updates. So his updates, the first one, GORUCK heavy events, way less of them in 2020. GORUCK hasn't released the 2020 schedule yet as of recording this. Hopefully they do soon. But in 2019, there was roughly 50 to 55 GORUCK heavy events. In 2020, they want to scale that back to 15 to 20, which means if you want to take part in a heavy, there is a solid chance, if you're not near a major city, that you're going to be traveling. Kind of unfortunate for those people who are on the outskirts, but I know it's getting people to rethink their 2019 plans, knowing that there's way less heavy events. And just to put that in perspective, when GORUCK did their huge D-Day 75th anniversary event series, there were 12 GORUCK heavy events that weekend, which is pretty much how much they want to have the entire 2020. Next up, GORUCK tough events and GORUCK light events. 300 or so in 2019. They want to cut that in half for 2020. All tough events will have a light following it, so it'll be the tough on Friday night, light on Saturday. So that's pretty much what we're used to, but it's interesting to see them scale way down on those numbers. Speaking of scaling down, the HTL is probably the biggest announcement, one of the bigger announcements for 2020. There's only going to be 2 of them, according to Jason. So there were a bunch of HTLs in 2019, only going to be 2 in 2020, which means if you want to get an HTL in, probably should recheck that 2019 calendar. And if not, know that there's a solid chance you'll be traveling in 2020 for your HTL. Speaking of 2 of something, GORUCK is officially running double heavy events for 2020, according to Jason in his post on Reddit, which who knows if that will be changing or not. I wouldn't say it's officially set in stone, but the fact that he's posting this on his own account outside of the Tough group makes me think that this stuff is 90% of the way solidified for 2020. So back to 2 of some things. Double heavies, GORUCK will be running 2 of those officially, apparently, in 2020. Up until now, the double heavies and then the triple heavies, those have all been custom events, and those are really expensive to run because you have to pay for multiple heavies. So it's thousands and thousands of dollars to run those custom events. GORUCK will be running 2 of them officially, so people who want to take part in them can sign up and most likely travel to them because there's only going to be 2 of them throughout the year. 2 might be a small number, but it's bigger than 0, which is how many GORUCK selection events GORUCK is planning to run in 2020. And I've already talked to some people who were planning on signing up for GORUCK selection in 2020. And so now they're kind of in a bind because they're trying to figure out, it's the beginning of July now. We're 3 months and a week out from GORUCK selection in October. Do they train really hard for the next 3 months and do it in 2019? Or do they push it out and see what GORUCK decides to do in 2021? My guess is GORUCK will be bringing it back in 2021, but who knows? Based on the amount of live coverage selections always gotten year over year, I figured they'd bring it back automatically because it's an awesome marketing arm for them. But if they actually are cutting it off the list for 2020, then who knows what happens in 2021? Maybe a bunch of people sign up. We'll see. There will be team assessment again in 2020, so that's good news. I think that event was pretty well received and definitely less scary than GORUCK selection and what people thought it was probably going to be. So I'm really hoping that we see a bunch of teams out there in 2020 for GORUCK team assessment. And then all these updates so far have been about GORUCK cutting events. One event that they're not cutting is the Star Course. So they ran the Star Course in 28 cities in 2019, and they're planning on doubling that to roughly 55 cities for 2020. The Star Course is one of my favorite events because it's rucking. You don't have a cadre there yelling at you. It's just your team and the miles. And I think that's a ton of fun. And it really brings out the best in people. So having them expanded is really exciting to hear. In addition, they made a interesting announcement that not all Star Course cities will get the 50-mile event. They didn't say how many will get it, but just know that if Star Course is coming to your city, it might just be the 12 and 26.2, or it might be all three of them. Who knows? I'm guessing no cities will be just the 50 because it makes sense the way they stagger the starts so everyone ends at the same time, that you'd want to get the most people out there, get the most bang for your buck, flying a cadre in. So I'm guessing cities won't get just the 50, but some will definitely just get the smaller, shorter events. That was a lot of information. All of it's available on the All Day Ruckoff website, and I'll be updating that as Jason changes or makes new announcements. Again, he just typed that from his Java Forever account on Reddit. So it's a public space, which is why I feel comfortable sharing it on video, on the website. It's not just in the private Tough group. It'll be very interesting to see how all this shakes up for 2020 and what it means for those kind of events going forward. One thing that it does get me excited about is that there's so many GORUCK events every weekend that it's tough to track any of the events that aren't special events. Obviously, Snowdrop, Brag Heavy, the bigger name events are easier to follow, and GORUCK usually gives them more coverage. But having less events per weekend will probably allow some of those smaller events, the smaller towns with not as many people who take part in it, to have their stuff surface, their pictures surface, and for more eyes to be on them. So should be interesting. We'll see. Either way, I'm hoping to do a lot of events, and hopefully with this Bullet Ruck 15, it'd be a ton of fun to kind of beat this thing into the ground and get it as dirty as I can possibly get it. Since it just showed up, might as well open it up and check out the inside. Excited about how white this is right now. This thing is just very, very white. It's got the D-ring on top, which I'm a huge fan of. Doesn't look like they've changed anything with the Bullet 15 since the last time I saw one. It still has the pocket, still has the hydration exit port. Flipping it over, still got the mesh pouch area. Still this top 1000D Cordura pouch, which is one of my favorite pockets on the GORUCK packs. Still has the Bullet Ruck sewn in label with no branding on if it's the 10 liter or the 15 liter. So pro tip on these bags, looking at the front, the GORUCK 15 liter Bullet has 6 columns of webbing, and the Bullet 10 just has 4 columns. So if you're buying one of these off eBay or Ruckmall and they say it's a 10 but there's 6 columns, or they say it's a 15 and there's only 4, then you might want to question it and ask for some additional pictures, because it might not be the pack you're actually looking at. Final thing, this does have a American flag patch on it, which is pretty rad. Did not buy it, but it's just cool to see GORUCK throwing those in, especially because this was a Christmas in July purchase. which means I got it for $125 instead of $195. So $70 savings. That's a large percentage. You know what they say about doing math in public, or I guess on camera. Not going to do it, but it's a lot of percentages saved. Anyways, if you have any questions about the GORUCK Bullet Ruck 15, just leave a comment. And if you've got any thoughts on GORUCK's huge announcement on their 2020 events, or if you have any comments on GORUCK's 2020 event changes, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Does this change your 2019 plans? Are you going to sign up for something really quick because that Get Some 2019 code expires on Monday, which if you're watching this even 5 days after it releases has already expired. Sorry about that. But I know a lot of people are changing up their plans because of it. That being said, things at GORUCK change pretty often, so there's a chance that Jason's going to just switch this whole thing up. There will be multiple selections next year. It's going to be the year of the heavy. There's going to be double heavies, triple heavies, all the heavies, and who knows. I'm guessing it won't go anything crazy like that, but we'll see what happens for 2020 and how much of this stuff actually comes to be. So it'll be interesting to look back at this and see how many of these changes he actually makes. Thank you so much for the incredible support. As I mentioned, questions, comments, just leave a comment down below. As always, thank you to everyone who supports on Patreon. Truly appreciate it. Everyone who supports that way. It's awesome. And then thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. Lots of GORUCK content, rucking content, a lot more stuff out there, and even more on the way. And then, as always, don't forget, attitude is everything. Keep yours positive, and drink hard, ruck harder.